Welcome to Answers from the Universe and the Andronicus transmissions on Wolf Spirit Radio, Ever Beyond Radio, and Studio 9 Jam on YouTube. With your host, Jessica Ariel Morocco, featuring JP as the voice of Andronicus. Please visit www.readingsbyrael.com, that's A-R-A-E-L.
From the future, by way of the past. I bought my ticket for the 15th century. We started moving through a hole in history.
You're listening to Wolf Spirit Radio.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us at Answers from the Universe and the Andronicus transmissions. This is how Monday begins.
Yeah.
Da-da-da-da-da-da. So, anyhow.
Meanwhile, yeah, so...
God, back at the ranch.
And I still haven't found that. I've been looking for that sample. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, I've not found it. If anybody sees a film... that has I think it's Bonanza or something like that, the original Meanwhile Back at the Ranch with that voiceover, let me know. I want to make a sample out of it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
We need these tools.
We need these things.
Yeah, this is live radio, and what else could we do without sound effects?
Yeah, sound effects. Well, they bring the Andronicus, they bring a bit of dimensionality to the whole thing, rather than just me reading dull things from dully reading things from this. Anyway, so what's happening? How's things? How are you? Are you okay? What's going on?
I'm doing wonderful. We were talking about, I had a gray day today. Well, it's overcast and it's gray. Supposedly this very odd storm is coming through the United States.
This thing that is right across the way.
Yeah, like it made a stripe, a line. This is not the way weather patterns typically go. Usually they loop in some way. Mm-hmm. And this was like, someone took a laser and just beamed it at us. Yeah, but, what's new? Is there anyone else that's disrupted by us? Right. But anyhow. So I have a great day. It's not too bad. It's slightly rainy, overcast. Weather's a little chilly. That's it. We had some warmer weather earlier this week, but it's nice. That's New England for you.
All right. So I know. Well, actually, I was going to suggest that. But you've already got some music suggestions, so that's fine. I was going to say "Rainy Days and Mondays" by Carpenters, but maybe I'll put that on later. Maybe.
Yeah. I don't know about the Carpenters. We're going to be talking about some things regarding music today, because on a Viking show, the Interstellar Galactic Council, there were some topics that came up about AI, which I'm going to be addressing later. And we were talking about certain songs and how the songs can get into your head. And is that AI or is that something else? And you saw that discussion. Yeah. Well, the Carpenters, Karen Carpenter in particular, on Top of the World. Mm-hmm. I mean, their music scares me because I'll never forget, there was one point where a few people came in and said, I don't know what it is, but I keep on hearing Top of the World. And they were asking for my help almost. It was like a projecting into their head. And I said, I don't know. And it was almost like, poor, Karen Carpenter was in some space out there. She had a difficult death. She had bulimia and some other, eating disorder issues. And, a lot of people loved her. And it was really sad to see her die at such a young age. But I think she was caught between spaces. And so, this woman was very keyed into her and came in, and then other people were hearing it. And so I said she is on top of the world right now. She's trying to figure out where she's at. I need to help her. And so I helped her into the other dimensional space, but she was broadcasting. It was something I call broadcasting. Mm-hmm. There are certain people that find the key nodes that open up and are able to project their thoughts and energy, sound, words, and so forth. And, you have to be careful with, if you're a broadcaster, you need to be careful. And there's been a few people that I've talked to tell them that they're broadcasting, and I don't know how this happens. It could be related to who you were in a previous lifetime. It could be that you kind of linked into something at some point in your spiritual path. It could be that as you're opening to music, you're getting on some kind of frequency. I don't know. I haven't quite figured it out, but anyhow, the Carpenters. That was a little short story there, but something to think about. We're going to be talking more about that in the second hour with Nicholas and Chez, and possibly Ian might be joining us if he's able to. I know he's celebrating Beltane today. Today's Beltane.
Yes, indeed. It is Beltane. And as I said, a lovely day it has been over here in the Celtic lands. And it's just, I tell you, it's the best time of year. If you ever want to visit Scotland, May is the month to do it, because there are no midges. The midges come out in June. They come out 1st of June on the clock. But the weather in May is just beautiful. It's just lovely. And it's bright. There's a lot of light. There's a lot of sky, and it's very, sunny and pleasant. It's a very pleasant moment. So, if you ever want to come to Scotland, now is the time to do so.
I'm running right over there now. It's just a hop, skip, and a jump away.
I can accommodate you in 10 days' time, okay?
I can always have Meetis just give me the transport key or something and just head over there.
Wouldn't that be lovely? It'd be so cool just to kind of hang out. It would be so cool. We've never met, personally, physically. Although, we know each other's frequency.
That's correct. I wonder what trouble we would get into, JP, with both of our energies in one place. We get in enough trouble already on the radio.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well.
Yeah, in a good way. You know what I mean? It's just like a fun, I think, just fun and some of the things that we'd probably be looking at and checking out the lay of the land and all that stuff. It would be really cool. And I get to meet all your friends, and that'd be wonderful too. So maybe someday,
there's only about 4 of them.
Only 4. Because the rest of them are on the radio.
Only got 4 friends, really,
And about a couple thousand on the network.
Yeah, well, it's really interesting. I had my friend Nicky. This is, now what's he in the chat room? Organicy. He's Organic Nicky, right? He's a local organic farmer. He does the box schemes. Do you know what a box scheme is?
No.
An organic farmer or a group of organic farmers will get together, and somebody will supply potatoes, somebody will supply the vegetable greens and etc. and the fruit and things like that. And then people every week, they pay a subscription for the seeds and everything, and then every week they get some of the vegetables that are grown by the group. It's called a community agricultural group or something, or community something. CSA, I think it is. Anyway, but whatever it is, it's local community agriculture, and Nicky grows our vegetables and delivers a box, and it's always got seasonal vegetables and potatoes. Always got potatoes. Always get potatoes in Scotland all year round. I could probably just go out to my garden, stick a spade in, and get a potato out.
Wow.
That's how potatoey we are. So anyway, but I was saying to him, we were chatting about stuff, and it's really nice because I've known him for quite a long time. He used to come to my jam sessions as well, and we always used to have these really kind of spacey talks about the sort of stuff that we get up to nowadays. So it's always nice. And so he's now tuning in and, he's, bringing his friends into it. So that's really good. Maybe one day he'll have a show. And
I think we need more of that.
Yeah.
More people need advice on organic gardening, and you have Findhorn right there, and there's a whole mind concept around planting. And I know there's been people around here as well. There is that bridge between New England and the British Isles, I'm positive. And so there's always this little bit of a reflection of what's going on both sides. But I think that's something that's a really good topic, and it's a very important topic. People should know how to grow their own vegetables. And I used to do it. I had an organic garden years ago when I lived in the Midwest. I lived in Nebraska. And the soil was very rich with minerals, a very black soil. Beautiful. And grow a lot of things, but that's pretty much what they grow a lot of our food is that part of the country. And I have grown things out here, but it's just not as fertile.
Oh, yeah.
It is. You could, with amendments, you can do it, but
Vanessa's got it right. It's community supported agriculture. I knew it was CSA, but, community supported agriculture. Yeah, so that's what Nicky's been doing, and he's a brilliant bloke, and it's just great that not only that he's come in and he's listening and he's sharing it with other people.
Wonderful. That's beautiful. We're going to have more of that.
Yeah, and maybe one day he'll have his own show. Actually, his accent is very similar to Chez, and it's that north of England.
Beautiful. Yeah, I love Chez's accent.
So
it's funny. Chez will say to me, "Doesn't that person have an accent?" I said, "What?"
Everybody's got an accent. Everybody's got an accent.
We all do. We are such a beautiful melting pot here. I mean, everyone. There's so many different cultures that come through here. It's beautiful. And, it's a really unique network of people and very, very, brilliant ideas and contributions of thought, cultures. And I see people exchanging ideas all the time in the chat room, trying to help out one another. Everyone's so quick to help out each other. And you would think that you have this eclectic group of people, and this is, to my understanding of what I've seen, is there's few conflicts. It doesn't happen very often. I mean, it's natural to happen, but it doesn't seem to happen very often. I see it more commonly used in a way where it's community. So that's what's important is people are getting past everything, and they're just kind of seeing themselves a part of this one, the oneness. No other way to say it.
Yeah. You just realize that everybody's part of the one. Oh my God. That's so funny. There's a sack that is in my little webcam here. And it's got a cartoon face, just the perfect cartoon face. That is just so weird. I wonder if I can get a screenshot of it. Anyway, it's just a coal sack, and the way it's folded has left a very kind of distinct cartoon face. Rather, it's, I don't know. I'll have to turn on.
Well, maybe you have some elementals there.
Yeah, I think there are.
They're really
Hang
good
on.
for
Let's
doing
see if I
stuff
can
like
do
that.
this. Let's see if I can do it. If I can turn on the camera, you probably
They
won't be able
somehow
to see
leave
it.
their little imprint and let you know that they've arrived.
Right, now, there we go. Can you see the camera? Can you see the picture?
I can sort of see the picture, yeah.
Well, right in the middle, there's a sack, and it's...
Yeah, I can see it. It looks like it's got eyes
Yeah.
and a mouth,
See
yeah.
what I mean? It's like a cartoon. Anyway. Listen, apparently there are people listening to us. I mean, I'm having great fun here talking to you.
Oh, you can't say. I thought it's just like being on the phone.
That's right. We're just having a chat.
Yeah.
Just having a chat.
We do like a free flow. It doesn't really matter. And, I almost was going to disappoint you today because I didn't think there was going to be a song.
Oh, no, but
There's a short one.
Mm-hmm.
There's a short one for Meetis, just to let you know. And if you wanted to sing it twice. You probably could do that if
I could do a round.
you really get geared up on it.
By the way, the hand is getting much better. There it is.
Wonderful. Yeah.
And I won't give you much detail than that because it's horrible. But yeah, it's getting much better, and I've got my most of my faculties back. I was able to use my electric cordless drill today. Because the problem is squeezing, because it puts a lot of pressure into that area, and it's anyway, long story. But I was able to use pliers and cordless drills today, so that's good news.
Yeah, just as long as
I've been very
you're
practical today.
Careful, as long as you're careful. Be careful with your power tools, young man.
That's right. 20 volts. 20 volts can be it can bite you if you have a ring, and you touch the contacts on one of these cordless drill batteries. It will heat the ring up, and you can't get the thing off. Not a good idea. So, handy hint: if you're working on electrical things and you wear rings, put electrical tape around your finger to insulate, so that the ring is not exposed. So you don't have. And that's a handy hint from an experienced person. So there you go. Don't, if you insist on wearing rings. I imagine you wear rings. Do you like wearing rings?
I do. I wear rings. I wear all types of jewelry that have at times presented problems. The earrings getting snagged.
Earrings are real pain in the ass.
Yeah, necklaces choking me.
It's like necklaces coming to life and becoming little cobras and.
And I've made the mistake of falling asleep with certain necklaces. And you wake up and you're like, what the heck is that? Wrap around. So I managed to get through it a little bit.
Yeah.
Live and learn, right?
Yep. Oh, there's it. Yep. There he is. Hi, Nikki. Organic Key in the
Key. I see him.
There you go.
Yeah, he's welcome to send the vegetables over here. I bet they're good.
Yep, they're lovely. Very well.
So we're in such a social mood today that today I want to remind everyone that today is the Andronicus gathering. This is the Andronicus Transmissions Facebook private group. And we typically get together once a month, and tonight is the night of the Andronicus gathering. Chez will be helping us to put together the meeting through the Zoom room, and she will have the links to get in there. So just check out the Zoom room. Check out the chat room, and you will get the link to go into the Zoom room. And you are welcome. We'd love to meet you. Those of you that usually come in, happy to see everybody. And Chez will just, have each one introduce one another so you can get to know people a little bit closer. And we'll probably be having discussions about things related to Andronicus transmissions or other things that are earth-minded. So we'd love to have you. And also, if you're interested in joining our private Facebook group, we welcome you as well. This is, as we mentioned earlier today in the group, this is a non-judgment. It's a judgment-free zone, so people are free to have discussions and to get to know one another in a way of accepting, understanding, and showing respect in the way that you deserve to be respected, and likewise treating others the same way. So, anyhow, I wonder if we should move along and get ready for the show. We'll start doing some of the transmissions. What do you think, JP?
I hit the flashback button?
Yes.
Is it Andronicus time first? Or who? Who wants to?
Let's do Andronicus first.
Okay. The sun is bright, and I am weary. I've waited here for many days and nights, and no one arrived.
Andronicus, are you all right?
Well, I decided to return to my former missions. My mind has been so much clearer since I left the galactic field of humans.
Does it weary you too much? It is the chatter, isn't it?
Sorry.
It is the chatter, isn't it?
Yes, it's like a wave of sound and thoughts all laid in streams of echoes and tones. The languages, the waves of emotions are so overwhelming that silence at times would be welcomed. But when the sounds end, I hear my own thoughts, and I am resigned to find out what is truly ailing me. Oh, a mountain of troubles and emotions indeed. So, I surrender to a journey. Nothing grand, a simple journey. So I tell myself. I have a crew, some of my fellow Andromedans who will talk and sit by the glowing embers. I will sing and dance alike. There is nothing more comforting than to hear the comets fly by. The ground here is thick and hard, but crumbles in my hand. The elements are similar to Earth, but in different ratios. I'm here to alter it a bit to resemble Earth.
Wait a minute. You're creating and replicating our Earth?
Yes, it will take some labor, but it will be well worth it in the end. I see that humanity is worth saving. I see how you love humanity, and I love what you love as well. You see the good in so many. I became far too introspective to see the loveliness of things as you do. Squeakiness. Squeakiness of the chair. Tell me, do you like the balance of water to land as on the planet?
Yes, I guess. I don't know if that is perfect or it could be better. I like the oceans and the land. I like the things that grow both on the planet and in the water. You are asking the wrong person. I don't know what is favorable for everyone. It should be good for all so they can choose and what suits them best.
And, what about the sky? It could be different in color slightly. The atmosphere could be lighter or denser. You could lift more in your step or feel more solid on your footing, but more dense. Tell me.
I don't understand how you do such things. To build a planet or change one?
It's as simple as knowing, then forming, and then releasing.
What color is the ground? Is it the same as here, where it will vary so no one notices?
I want to have some variations in the soil. I would like to add some red tones, some blue tones, some green tones, and some purple. It will feel a bit more uplifting. I discovered that areas where colors are too bland, humans are less creative and don't thrive as well. I want you to see more brilliance.
I guess the bigger issues to this question is why. Why do we need a new planet? And will we also need a new sun or other galactic planets? How much is going to change?
It all depends on the choices made by all, not just humanity. Though we love humanity, they're not the only ones who will be affected by it. Many other species need to thrive. The colors represent the quality of elements mixed into the composition of the planet. It must be better fortified to bring in new species or species who have been habitating from afar but hoping to join you.
Are they friendly and harmonious with humans?
Oh, yeah.
Animals and plant life as well?
Oh, yeah. We will be building a gate that will be better secure humanity from the alternate space of realities and contrary species. This is a project that is being crafted as we speak. Oh, so much. But right now, I'm weary. I'm a bit too tired to discuss everything. Wait. Ren is contacting me telepathically. He had a slight collision with an asteroid field.
Can I ask where you're at?
Yes, Sector 439821, Alberon, Kitara.
Is it far from Earth?
Not far from us, but many light years in your travel schematics. Let's see. I sent you a rabbit, a bear, and a dolphin. They will help the next juncture for the planet.
Do the animals represent humans or other species?
Incarnated humans. Remember, look for the rabbit, the bear, and the dolphin. I must go now. Ren needs my assistance. Onward. Oh, be wary of Martian contact. There are still some sinister activities, and those that could trick you into thinking they are truthful. Never honor their wishes. I may be away for a while. Worry not. I'm not that far away. Andronicus. flighty,
Yeah.
otherwise engaged.
He was on this planet and it looked like he was there by himself. And then he was waiting and sort of bored.
Oh dear.
But thinking about, I know, we know
I think
what
of what
happens.
Rhodan said about when Andronicus gets bored.
Well, at least he has intentions of creating. So he's got these ideas. And I thought it was really, interesting how he asked me what my opinions are. And he knows that I have no idea what's best for what. But I thought it was kind of like he was just trying to get some feedback.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I go back to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. There was this fellow called Slarty Bartfast.
Yeah.
Who designed the fjords. I really enjoyed doing the fjords, very nice and fiddly and crinkly. Yeah. And the idea that somebody could have designed that, or the way that it would tear and become like that and things like that. The idea that what we see as natural is actually a construct.
Yeah. I've actually seen things where I've seen like these weird ripples and different things. And then when they get removed, it kind of changes a landscape. It's really strange. I don't know the details of it, but I sort of see like a ripple in energetic field. And then you see the landscape that is reflected from that ripple that was created. So it almost like a fold in another dimension. But it was maybe kind of a mountain mass, kind of mountains, kind of the landscape is just, it does something different to it.
So it's like somebody changed a template and the mountains changed in accordance to that change. Is that right? Am I hearing
somehow
you right?
it's almost like the way that, you crinkle something on a bed or what, like your bag. Like your bag, you altered and changed it and then it has a reflection or it has another effect maybe in another dimension. I don't know how to explain it. They're interrelated, but one little ripple or turn creates something else elsewhere. It's really interesting to see. Yeah. So it's not like someone just has this blueprint and maybe there is an element of that. But then there's space outside of that too, which is really weird. I don't know.
So
when I'm there, I can fully describe what I'm looking at, and then go into a little deeper ways. I'm more concerned about who's there and what's going to happen, and it's unfortunate because then I'm not able to pay attention to the actual landscape of things and how the paradigm of the construct is put together. I'm usually in a protective mode. Trying to say, I don't know what I'm getting into here. It's like, walking through the door and you don't know who's waiting on the other side.
Curiously, what's that word? Yeah, I see. I see Alice in Wonderland opening the door,
Only they're not all fun and whimsical.
No.
Sometimes you might have a big, huge Draco waiting there and you're like, whoa. Shields up.
Yeah. The weird world of Jessica Morocco.
Yeah, well, they have that kind of, that acidic, spit that they do or whatever. And it's you literally get sick sometimes if you're exposed to them. And even though it's happening in another dimension, you bring that in. So, those little lovely, lovely things.
Yeah. And it's like, even if it's not, like you say, if it's on another plane, it affects your emotional body on that plane, because we have a body on that plane. And that will then filter down into your physical.
Absolutely.
Like,
Yeah.
so,
You can't separate it. The dimensions are all interconnected. You can't separate it. So that's why, that people are trying to figure out things at times. And I'll see something in another dimension. And I'll say, oh, that's because this and this is happening over here. And once you correct that, then they actually feel it in this plane. It sounds simple, but, to me, it's just, something that I'm accustomed to, but, that's usually where the solution is for me. Maybe it's done another way for other people, I don't know, but I can only speak for what I understand.
So, shall we move on to who next?
You know who next. It's Rhodan.
Dun, 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 dun. Or rather...
Rhodan, who is Odin, for some who don't know who he is. Hello, Rhodan. I see you are back on the ship again. You're working with the Alpha Centaurians beyond the Soul Gate, or here by Earth?
I'm by your planet now, looking deeper into the hidden cities below both now and the progression of them in the future. We're at a standstill, or a crossroads, as you call it. The directions of time are waning. I'm holding on to the leverage device to sustain the quantum fall. You have advanced too rapidly, and the absence or void of missing aspects could create a collapsing sense. I know you felt it a bit last night. We upheld and propped the void with pillars to prevent a collapsing environment. I told you to discuss these things with me as you work. You have been so efficient but non-communicative in your efforts. Everyone wants to see these things corrected right away, but Rome wasn't built in a day, a statement you would recognize. It takes time to fill in the void or displacement of matter. Many species have departed from your space. With each departure there is an artificial environment that they also created to design their fortresses, government, rules, infrastructures. All species do this, whether you realize it or not.
Are these the micro-realities I've seen? They seem to be connected to regions or portals, offshoots within the portal and the offshoots within the portal. I see them sometimes trying to flood my reality with ideas and infuse their concepts into mine.
Unfortunately, they've done this with everyone. They've created overlays of instructions, guidance and lifestyle to all humanity to the point where humans think this is their true nature to be this way. It's all very troubling for me to observe.
Tell me about these species. Who have done this?
It's very complex and never so easy to reveal. I don't want to injure humanity any further than what others have done to them. They had created false paradigms and realities to hide their true agendas.
I understand completely. Many know what has happened. Many know what has happened to them already, but I do understand that some of these things I've seen have been heartbreaking to many. The distractions of illusions, for one. And what about all the children?
We have them safely with us. They tried to transport them out. I know what you're thinking, but I can't tell you now. I know you will track them down. I will let you know what is happening and how you can help.
I am here for this purpose. Let me help. I will deliver them to you as I've done in the past.
You've done too much already. Hey, where are my sons? I sent them here long ago and they've made small efforts to assist.
Some of us are at a breaking point. I don't have the comforts of life that some have and no serious distractions of small children as I've done that already. My friendships are harmonious. My time can be utilized to assist as I have been.
I see you looking at where you want to go. It is a dangerous place. But I had hoped that one of my sons would have been taken on. No. It is a dangerous place, but I had hoped that one of my sons would have taken on the task instead.
It will not be a physical battle, but a spiritual one where you will be there with me. I will stand in the gap watching and waiting to see who arrives. You and our allies, the Alpha Centaurians, will then take it from there.
I have to think about it. I'll let you know. Don't make any plans without my consent. I cannot have you standing on a vacant rock alone. Much is done, but more will happen. We're waiting for the tides to shift and flow with time to cause the least amount of aberrations. Consider the crossroad that leads down 8 paths or 8 possible realities. Today, we will have to choose one. Alpha Centaurians, eh?
Yeah, I've worked with them plenty of times before. I actually lived with them in some time period.
That's right, you were saying that.
Yeah. They're very, very, very helpful, and they don't come here to take as other species do. They come here to help.
Wizard from the Universe is saying Alpha Centauri is quite technologically advanced, I have heard.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They are, and they also have a sense of justice, or they have almost like an ethical code.
Yeah.
And they work with Rhodan very well. I've seen them before. I've actually visited Rhodan where he was with them. And it's on the other side of the Soul Gate, so they've brought me through a couple times where, he was working with them, and, for various reasons. But he never goes into detail on any of these things. I just happen to see him and, talk to him about what I know and what I understand.
And he was saying there that, you work too hard. Basically.
Well, it's not just me, it's everyone that wants to see the planet change, and they're like, well, this is going on and that's going on, and so he's given me this ability to be able to find things. So I found these things and I presented to them, and apparently I was doing too much where there was creating a gap, and this morning, was it last night?
Oh, I see what you mean, that you're discovering races that need to be taken off planet. But the astral space that they existed in is like a vacuum.
Yeah, because they had a collapse, and a bunch of those realities had they're false realities and overlays that making humans think that this is the way they should be or whatever, and it's creating an illusion, over illusions, and kind of incorporated what they want to impose on the planet. And it's even control systems. It's usually negative stuff. It's not anything positive. And so they have these, what they call them pocket universes. And so when they are taken out, the pocket universes are also taken out, but they're not really organically part of our reality anyhow. Mm-hmm. They're a false overlay. And what it does is it keeps people in a place of illusion. It's harder for people to awaken. And so these things naturally are taken from, if you saw some of these things, you'd be like, oh my God, I'm so glad you got rid of that, And so, but meanwhile, the collapsing part was something I actually felt today. It was almost like a dropping sensation. And so he brought it up to me because maybe much had been happening, and so that had to be adjusted. So, I mean, you could see everything's still, in place, but and it's not just what I'm doing, it's others are doing as well, but people want to move this along. They want to be done with it, they want things to kind of just default back to where they should be, but it has to be done carefully.
Oh, I know.
And
who was it? There was one person who was on Carlin's show yesterday. And this poor lady, she was like, I just want to be done with this. I just can't stand this 3D life anymore. It's just so, uncomfortable. It's not good. It's not easy. Well, it's more than not easy. It's traumatic.
For some people, yeah. I mean, it's been a very hard lifetime, but they need to align with why they're here, and go inward and connect to the God source. Allow yourself to be reconnected, and it won't feel so difficult, because whether we're here or on some other reality, some other civilization, even in other dimensions, we still need to have that connection. And that's the part that we're really missing. And so the exterior part won't be as bad if we have that true connection. I keep on reminding people of this, that this is the crucial point. If you want to ascend, you can't ascend without that deep connection. And when you have that deep connection, then you know how to make decisions regarding things that are happening in your life, any type of chaos or problems or sadness or loss, that you have to create some kind of balance so that you're okay and you feel grounded as to why you're here and what you're doing. But I can tell the people that are not, immediately I'll say, are you meditating? And they say no. First thing, are you meditating? You need to meditate. You need to connect in. And that will help you through this journey. And no one said it's easy. It's not easy, but once you figure it out, it makes more sense, and then you can manage it easier.
It's much easier to cope with reality when you've got oxygen in your brain. That's what I say. And meditation is one of those things that is, sorry about that, that is this is the way you breathe, because generally we don't breathe properly. We run on almost no oxygen in our brains at all. And when we do bring in oxygen to your brain, it feels so much better, and you get all these new ideas because, it's coming in on the frequency. And also, you're breathing in your aura, which is where your soul lives. Anyhow. And
you learn so much there. Oh my goodness. I did this for, I started meditating regularly, and you could see, so many things opened up.
Oh, well, you completely opened up. Where else do you want to go next? Where's there else to go? I suppose, there's a lot of stuff that would be nice to tidy up and to, these pieces to, put together. Yeah.
I would like to use whatever abilities I have to be able to help, the people around me and to see the planet get better. And to have this community that we talk about, I always envision that beautiful community with, everyone sort of living in a way where it is this free energy and there's, natural, organic gardens, people of like-mindedness, and just, somewhere that it just feels really nice. And not that it's horrible where I'm living, but, it's not the same. I kind of like that whole Andronicus lifestyle that he talks about. It's sort of like, he talks about sitting by the fire and gathering with people. It's very, very clan-like or tribe-like or whatever, and that'd be a really cool way to live.
Very much.
But,
very much.
I like people. I'm very, I'm social, and I think it's nice to have really beautiful people around. And, would never be perfect, of course not, but I think to attract that, someone that's at least wanting to create something better, and everyone contributing in their own way. I think it'd be amazing, and it'd be a way to kind of set a new standard, of and not to just have like a little private group, but to, create these locations in various places where people can live the way that they want to live, and whether it's Ubuntu or however, just incorporating barter systems, helping people to, having the markets, and like Conrad talks about, having the markets, everything there, post office, all the things that you need is within the area. People could just, get on their bike or walk and get to where they need to. These things are really beautiful. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the future holds right now regarding that, but, things open up and it would be nice to do that. So yeah, that's what I would like to contribute. And other people would refine it with all their beautiful ideas and it sounds very idealistic, but, I have a right to dream.
Why not? I think we have every right to dream of a universe where we don't have to pay rent to exist, that, we can take care of each other without being attacked, for doing so, for being okay, for being, generous, for being heartful. That we're not attacked for it. Most of the time, that's what the Draconian Empire does. It attacks those qualities, those human qualities. But I think we will be in a place that we can celebrate that. Celebrate that human quality of being able to enjoy times. And, sitting around the fire, this is what we do. This is really what Wolf Spirit Radio is about. We're all sitting around a fire. I always see it like that.
Yeah, it is. It's going back to the basic community experience and being, amongst people that are like-minded and supporting them. And, I always say that, I've lived in a way that you live like you're on an island. And a lot of people are doing that more and more because of the fear and the way that the media is presenting the world is placed to have fear, that there's aggression, there's going to be problems, and always a worst case scenario. And I don't think we all want to live that way. I think we're seeing that it's a much more kinder and gentler place. And if given the circumstance of people making a decision, I think they would prefer it this way. A lot of people are disheartened by the idea that they don't know their neighbors. They don't know who's around them. As people have gone inward. And, it's one thing, I know that there's people that are sort of, very outgoing and some people are a little bit more private. And there's a balance, that, but I am finding that, in a community, when I had that glimpse of, Staffordshire with Meetis, when everyone was around and they were in the marketplace, and it was beautiful. I mean, people just didn't have those issues. They just, everyone knew each other. They said hello. There was a level of honesty and truth of who they were, and when they bartered, it was fair and everyone was in consent. People helped one another. No one seemed to have a house that was in disrepair. Everything was kept up. And they were extremely happy. They looked really, really happy. And I think all of us long for that. We just long to be the simple things. Because the simple things were taken from us. And now we've learned to appreciate them. And we can request for them to come back.
Yeah. As you're speaking about this, I'm thinking, actually, this is where I'm moving. This is the life that I am creating for myself here. That sort of life. The Andronicus kind of life. And I think, alright, so one of the things that I've been thinking about while you've been talking, or that has been coming to me, is that there are different approaches to this. In that, okay, so we can create Ubuntu, right? And there's one approach, which is we'll create Ubuntu for the entire planet, and we'll look after it for the planet. Or the other approach is we'll work it, we'll make it happen, see how it works, trial and error, do all these, try changing the rules, tweaking the rules, see what happens. And then once we got it right, we share it with everybody to make their own small community system. Rather than making one big system, you make many, many, many little ones. That's my personal feeling as a successful method of approaching this. Rather than trying to make a big movement, you have lots of small movements who like branch off each other. It's like the open source community.
Yeah, kind of a trial and error and see what works best for the community and then have some sort of network that there's others in other locations of the world. And, they can try out different things as well. I mean, someone has to be the way showers. Yeah. Someone has to be the one that starts the system.
It's the way they do, that they're working free energy systems on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And that's how people communicate these days on YouTube. So, and we have here, this is our YouTube presence. We have a few thousand people who are exposed to this. And it's really nice to have that kind of connection because other people, most other people, I think, want this. They want a nice life. They want a life where they're not having to cut each other's throats.
Right.
In order to survive.
Or to be told that, it's so debilitating when people hear, oh, this happened and that happened and in your neighborhood, someone got killed or it's just like, do you really want to go outside? And you hear people talk like that. I don't think I want to go anywhere today. I mean, isn't that horrible? How do they justify this where they have people in such a frozen state of mind that they don't even want to step outside their door? I mean, shame on these people for doing this to others.
That's what they call a martial state, isn't it?
Yeah. It's horrible. Yeah. And you know what, it's a very cruel thing to do to many innocent people, and there will be repercussions. And I also think that we're going to be liberated from their thinking. If they want to live in fear and they, in trauma and thinking, acting as if they're helping us by perpetuating that energy, then, they can live that way if they want, but we're not going to participate in it. And that's why we do, as much disclosure as we can. We try to make changes on another level as well to completely alter that whole paradigm. This is a paradigm. It's not a truth and it's not a reality. And it's something that they're manifesting and creating and saying that this exists and we don't have to be a part of it anymore.
Well, not only that, but they're using us. I finally got it. Carlin managed to, kind of get it to, no, who was it? Was it? Yeah, I think it was. Anyway, our creative faculty creates things in the fourth dimension that are unseen, that then later manifest, but also can manufacture things. And these beings have been making us create their world in the astral plane through the use of religion and mind control techniques to build this kind of imagined afterlife. So they get people to build heaven with their fears and their aspirations, and then they live in it. And we just
reincarnate. But then we're escaping. We're doing nothing but thinking about how do we get off this planet and go there.
Yeah.
Instead of enjoying why we're here.
That's right.
And why we're here is to engage and be in experience and enjoy life. And we're missing the whole thing because we're so captured on why we gotta get out of here, For some people, it doesn't matter what I say, that's what they're going to want. But we can create a beautiful experience right here that then, when it's time for us to go, when we go, it's a peaceful place because we're actually here to support one another. We're not here as islands. And if you live as an island and you're not reaching out and connecting to others, then it doesn't matter where you go next. You'll probably replicate that and manifest it. So, you need to think about the here and now, what you're doing, what you're creating, and how you're fulfilling your agreement as to what you're doing here in the first place. And usually it has to be that you're supporting the group as a whole.
Agreements.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. Because there are bad contracts and there are good contracts.
Yeah, and it's less of a contract. It's just that it's almost like, you have to, we are not an island. We're all connected. So you have to stop seeing yourself as just one. It's, we're in our soul groups. We're in our families. We're in our relationships. And yeah, there's an individual aspect of us, but imagine just you in one spot where there's nothing else. You hear Andronicus talking about it. He can do it, but he doesn't do it for long. He doesn't stay there for thousands of years by himself. There's no separation.
He gets bored easily.
Well, that's what makes it enjoyable. We think we need to get away from people, but maybe not everyone. There's always someone, we need someone. And people think that they don't, but try getting away for a little while. Separate yourself from all people. And tell me what you feel. And you're going to feel a big separation. Anyhow, so let's keep on track here. We got...
Let's stay focused. So...
Stay focused. We're going to Meetis.
Let's go to Meetis. And... Hello, my lovely. How are you, my violet? You see, I know you too well.
Yes, so you're saying you pulled me into the other dimensions when I was picking violets in the grass?
Yes, and it's finally time to tell you why. I had no other choice but to bring you in. Rhodan was the one who was angry at you, and you the one who were quite upset. No, sorry. Rhodan was the one who was angry at you, and the one who you were quite upset about. I suppose it was my fault, but I knew he would be less angry at you than he was at me.
Meetis, you had me take the blame for you? What did you do? You realize how angry he was at me? And also, he thought I took something from him.
Well, that just happened. Today.
Today? What? Are you serious? So then you made it look like it happened when I was a child?
You stepped into the land of the Fae. The Tua saw you very clearly. No one said a word. They were speechless. They hadn't seen you for a very long time, and they were convinced you were dead.
What? Why is this not consoling me right now? Meetis, this is horrible. What else did you tell them about me?
Oh, wait a minute. I just said I told them that you are still present on this planet in a much less fulfilling experience, but nonetheless you will be much happier to have them join you in your youth so you can regain some of your levity, light-heartedness through trouble, sorrow, and many hardships around you. You see, I know and understand you well. I thought you needed a bit of a lift. They didn't harm you at all. As a matter of fact, they got you through a bit of trials and conflict. They like your brand of magic. A bit volatile, they said, but electric. The blue and yellow lights, purple and gold at times. That's how Rhodan recognized you. We all have the same energy. Fairy weather, they called you. Black dahlia, some, and others white lily. Either way, many names, depending on the tribe you visited.
Are you saying that an aspect of me is still there?
Of course. That's how we're assisting you so well. You don't have to struggle visiting a location where you're already at. It may have appeared that you popped right back into time, but many years had passed and much had happened before you returned. It was a bit of a transformation. Well done, I said. Well done.
Is my sojourn completed there now?
Oh no, not quite, my dear. You have to get out of the winter court with the Maeve. I'm afraid she has made you quite contrary at times. They almost think you are me. Silly little creatures. I don't know what I'd do without them. Here now, it's time to venture to the summer court.
Summer court? What about the spring court? Why do I skip over the spring court?
We don't go in order around here. All of the upper world rules don't apply here. We have sundry methods to avoid the obvious, my dear. Oh, you're blossoming again. Yellow amber. No. Green peridot. Oh, no. Ah, pink carnation. More. Wait. Clover green? No, yet another. Orange. Brilliant orange no, buttercups. Yes, I see them. Wait. Oh, violets, finally. Oh, you hit all spectrums there for a moment. A rainbow array. I see. Smells nice. Lovely.
What just happened?
A metamorphosis, I believe.
Do I get to go to the spring court then?
No. I said summer court first, my dear. There you will find it. I don't want you to search too hard. It will come to you. Oh, I must go. Don't say anything at all. Innocent until Oh, I must go. Don't say anything at all. Innocent until proven guilty, I say. Meetis, where are you going? Come back now. I know you took it.
Hi, Dryden.
What have you done? I see you entered the gate as a child and wonder why my mic is so bad. Wonder why your life is so topsy-turvy.
I believe I didn't come in on my own volition.
I see that. Meetis, where are you? Stop hiding from me. He wearies me. I don't know what to do with him. Ever since he came to the kingdom, he has been in perpetual disruption. I was told we shouldn't try to harness him. He doesn't like to be held down. It's a shame, truly it is. I know he has some promising characteristics, but then again, he's not much unlike me. I suppose the least I could do is to help you through the remaining courts. You finished the summer court long ago. Onward into the spring court. You are blue violet now. True blue for your desire to help, and loyal as the bees are to their honey queen. Now then, be off with you and find your pleasure in the sun. I will after correct the many workers who have been distracted by Meetis. He's always taking them off to his adventures. On with you. It'll be well now.
But what did he take that caused all of this stir in the first place?
Oh, don't you worry about that now. It will be so. You will see. It will be so. Meanwhile... today. You cannot find me straight away. I dalliance and prance. I'll do my dance. And off to the shiny laden trance. I spoke I wheel. Turn the metal gears. Metal gears, then reach out for the better surreals. I lift, I float, I don't need a coat. I'm transported out from this dimensional rope. And then, and then, no, that's not a very good disappear. Hang on.
Yeah, doesn't do the poof sound.
Oh, here we go. How about this one?
Yeah, that's a good one.
that's quite a good transporter. That's the that's the Tomorrow People. You never heard that? Did you ever see that thing, the Tomorrow People?
No.
It was about kids who developed, DNA and stuff. It's like Starseeds Awakening. This is in the 1970s. They could, these kids could teleport. They were telepathic. And yeah, they were that's basically their superpowers. That's as far as they got. They could teleport and they were telepathic.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Jumpers. Is that what they called it? That movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as you know, I suppose it's the certain awakenings that are going on. So
we're gonna discuss AI in the next hour, and meanwhile we have some really cool music from Brian Sundholm.
Yeah, and
good friend of yours.
You're going to talk about artificial intelligence, and I'll just develop my own natural stupidity. So,
we're not going to talk about it technically, but
I just wanted to. Yeah. Anyway, so now where are we? We were going to play one of Brian's songs. Which one would you like?
Yeah. Why don't we do two of them?
All right. Which ones would you like?
Well, we're going to do Eyeball. Is one.
You got to have Eyeball. You got to have Eyeball, haven't you?
Yeah.
And
followed by the take your pick. I like all of them.
All right. Okay. Well, I'll say Ad Libia.
Okay. Perfect.
And this is Brian Sundholm. I think that's pronounced it. Sundholm. Eyeball.
Okay, so we are back today, and this is the second hour of the Andronicus transmissions and the Answers from the Universe. Now, I have a few guests here, but the subject that we're going to be discussing is something that came up last week during the show with the Interstellar Galactic Council, and I just want to say that sometimes people that are doing this work, the type of work of whether it's disclosure or channeling or other things in that nature, sometimes may say things that for one reason or another it just can feel like it's discrediting or not very kind, and the environment, the community is large enough that if people are doing their shows or having their own form of expression, that they should be able to do that. And just to remind everyone that we should be kinder to one another, and even though we're not in agreement, that's okay. We're not here to agree with everybody. We're here to, have our own expressions, and there's always going to be times when we don't necessarily agree. So I wanted to put that out there. And so, there was a comment that was said to me that I was affected by artificial intelligence, which I felt was very inaccurate. And I think that if, on a whole, yes, every single one of us are affected by artificial intelligence, but I just wanted to say that that's probably a comment that could have been misconstrued, and I think, because that would reflect on how people perceive a lot of the stuff that's come forward in what I've done up to this point, and I didn't think that was a fair assessment. So I wanted to mention that also that like I said, there's no accuracy in it, and also that it made me start to think about how we are as in our world affected by I think music was the point that was part of the statement. And that music was, in fact, the issue that caused artificial intelligence. wanted to say that we're going to discuss that a little further with a group of people. And also the light language that came through, the language of the otherworldly language that channeled through. And I don't typically do that. And I do it, I have done it before, but not on air. And it does come out differently depending on the individual who I'm speaking to and who I feel that needs to hear this information. I can't quite articulate it. Maybe it's not meant to, as maybe it's meant to be on a tonal level and frequency. And so that occurred last week on the show. And I wanted to say that it's okay to do this, but there's a point of comfort level for people that are doing it. And so to kind of you want to be in a place where it's comfortable to have that expression without feeling judged. And so I think here again, I felt a little, wanted to retract a bit, when I heard that comment, I just wanted to retract, and I felt like, it should be in a more, welcoming and safe environment to be able to have these expressions, and just to be mindful of that when people are trying to bring forth information. Sometimes we're not getting information just for that very reason, where people are feeling judged. So, just I'm putting that out there. It's not the end of the world, but I wanted to make that statement. But what I'd like to do is now, welcome some people, to the panel, and we have, Chez joining us, Ian, and Nicholas. So I'd like to say hello to everyone.
How are you doing, Jess?
Very good. So who would, we'll start with, Chez. What are your thoughts on this topic of AI?
As far as I'm concerned, AI is about the energy we give to it. With all these devices and, we're constantly checking Facebook and listening to YouTube. I've been guilty of it myself. I've been addicted to YouTube and the next thing that comes up, and, watching everything on the feed and one thing and another. It's what energy we do it. Sometimes you feed yourself so much from these different, videos. So a lot of them are quite negative, and you stop listening to yourself. I think sometimes it's great, the internet and all these devices and the, computer, the phones are absolutely brilliant for bringing people together, for communicating, for connecting and everything. But you have to use them in moderation, and it's what energy you give and you get from it, as far as I'm concerned. You've got to use your own discernment and use it in moderation. One of my things that I do regular is just step away from the Wi-Fi. I'm very lucky. We've got a little bit of land here, and I can get away where there's no Wi-Fi, not even a phone signal, and I can spend at least 15 minutes a day, up to 2 hours a day, sometimes all day, just to get a break from it, So I'm not constantly giving them my energy and getting their energy, the AI energy. So, I think a lot of the things, we talk about the music, but some of the YouTube videos can be quite negative, and I think some of them are put there to basically cause separation and a divide and a right and wrong and a black and white. And basically that's, as far as I'm concerned, that's polarity consciousness. Fighting, it's the last fight to stay. We should be in moving towards unity consciousness. So basically that's my take on it. I think we have to find a balance.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree. That's thank you for sharing. Ian, would you like to share with us your thoughts?
Hi, Jessica. Yeah.
Hi.
I agree with Cheryl. It's kind of like the rise of the machines. I remember when things were really simple back in the day, wasn't it? And you could just, you weren't tied to electronics. You could just go out and do things, and it was very much more spontaneous. Now it seems that I'm glued to Facebook and kind of various sites, YouTube and whatever, and that very nature of engaging a synthetic reality kind of thing gives it energy, and I really have to give myself a second check sometimes. I think, yeah, God, what's the heck is going on, because it can become your reality, and if you think about it, it's just kind of bits and bytes, and we weave this kind of life version view, this tapestry, isn't it, of how we're living our lives and getting some kind of emotional credit for the likes and who shares your posts and things, but yeah, it's both valuable and a fatal trap, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of walking a balance, because on the one hand, we want to be very social and connect to everyone. It's kind of exciting. I get excited going on Facebook, particularly because of our group and interacting and catching up with everyone. But there are times when I'm looking at the posts and then sometimes I'll start looking at YouTube and then immediately, when I hear something and I start feeling a certain feeling or a frequency, I've learned to just that's the point when I shut it off and not really fully engage in it.
It takes a real skill to do that, doesn't it? Because it seems to throw up things that you're interested in just at the time when you're going to leave it. Mm-hmm. Have you noticed that? Either adverts from things you were looking at before that comes up on the algorithms of who this person is and what he likes, and you think, okay, well, it's almost like it is an intelligent thing, you're just about to leave, and it kind of pops in something that you think, that's a bit interesting, I'm going to spend 5 or 10 minutes. So in that time, and I believe we're feeding this network, we're feeding it with our attention. And it's this feeding that gives it strength. But as you say, it's one of those things that you can do without it, but it's, especially if you've got an interest in it, and if it's, for example, if it's if it's a business or if it's something you're creating, you want to see it grow and you want to see it, out there. So it is that fine line, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. Like you said, that that the complexity of how they use the algorithms to identify what you're interested in and keep drawing you back in. And that's probably going to get more ramped up in time, and we need to be aware of it right now and have a sense of our inner knowing to be able to pull away from it and not be affected. Ideally, the pull, the psychological pull and the energetic pull and the frequency pull that is drawing us in of the AI in particular, not just the marketing and the operations of kind of identifying and connecting to our psychology and how we think, but actually this very powerful force of artificial intelligence that's sort of it's that feeling of, remember talking to a friend of mine and saying, so, regarding a love bite, because it sort of operates in the same way. The love bite says, hi, I know you, we have all the same interests, and I love it. Oh, I love, vanilla ice cream. And, it just goes back and forth where there's this interplay of, I love everything that you love. And that's not possible. That's not possible in any scenario. So if you ever meet someone and they say they love every single thing that you love, it's possibly a love bite but it's sort of that AI energy.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah. It is very creepy because it's not, it's not a natural scenario. And, I'm talking to you, Ian, right now, and you were celebrating Beltane over there. Is that correct? You were we took you away from the celebration of it.
Yeah, well, I'm home now, but we had a weekend away and, in Sweden it's still very big. They still celebrate the ancient festivals, even though they're kind of a little bit more shrouded in mainstream and kind of religious. Yeah, they're quite religious, but at the same time they celebrate the old festivals. And this is what they call Valborg, which is just like Welcome to Spring. And they have it's like fire festival, and they started having more fireworks now. And there's kind of generally like someone offering a greeting to spring, and they have some music, and then kind of very often the children go along a path and light the bonfire, and there's this great big fire, and it's very communal, and it's got a nice cozy feel to it, you know. Which I think this whole AI thing is the community and that important lifestyle is trying to be broken down. And it's in AI's interest that everyone stays in front of their computer and doesn't engage with anything, you know.
Yeah, and that we become obedient. You know, that word, I'm seeing that the word obey. I think they've created a clothing line with that here in the U.S. I don't know if it's anywhere else.
I've seen it, yeah.
Brings us back to that movie from the 70s. What is it called? They Live?
They Live, yeah.
They Live, and you just see these big words, obey, and I'm like, you serious? You know, it's like right there in front of your face. And
we could do with those glasses now, couldn't we?
Yeah, I wonder what it would be like to use those glasses.
I think we'll be shocked.
I heard Patty Broussard say there's 1 out of 3 of us are human. Is that possible? One never knows, but I mean, I guess, you know, if we're all star connected, yes, maybe from that perspective. I don't know. I mean, it'd be interesting to find out, her perspective on that, but, you know, just, you know, that whole thing of kind of the words that are hidden, and there's all different types of subliminal messaging and other types of information. Even people that are light workers that are sitting for hours listening to some of these very mechanical sounding YouTubes that have all the light language in it. But you wonder what's the overlay in it. You know, what else is in there? And to me, if it sounds too robotic, immediately I have an aversion to it. So, with that, I want to bring in, Nick. Welcome you, Nick, and ask you to share in the conversation.
Well, I wrote a post on the groups, on the 2 groups early on about AI, but it's a hell of a big subject when you look into it. My understanding of AI comes from Simon Parkes, largely. It seems to me the definition of AI needs to be tidied up a great deal. There needs to be a great deal more rigor in talking about AI if it's a reality. Now, one question here, is it a principle we're talking about, or is it an entity in itself? If it's an entity in itself, are we talking about invasive AI, which is coming into the planet, as some are saying, and I believe Simon has talked about this, or is it invasive AI coupled with AI which is being invented by rather stupid people on this planet? Basically, I think the definitions need to be tidied up in this respect. Secondly, is AI, if it's invasive, is it a separate self-replicating entity? That's what I would like to know. I assume it would have to be. Does it piggyback on elements of a society such as we have, a technological society? This seems to be the case, according again to Simon Parkes and I believe others. It piggybacks on the frequencies, energy waves in our machines, for instance. I don't fully understand. I'm sure JP understands this a great deal more. But basically, I would like to understand what exactly we're talking about in terms of AI. Are we talking about a principle, let's say, intelligent so-called algorithms on a computer, such as Facebook and Google, or are we indeed talking about separate, independent or semi-independent entities which are either based on computer algorithms or have, I'm wondering, a DNA sort of core to them? In which case...
I think we're talking about both, but we can focus on one or the other. And I appreciate that you've provided a definition because
I'm just trying to clarify what is understood by AI. That's what I'm trying to do at the moment.
No, you're doing a fantastic job, and thank you for differentiating between the two, because you're absolutely right. There's different levels and degrees and different sources of origin, aren't there?
Absolutely.
So, which one you're welcome to talk about one over the other or show a comparison?
My interest is in this so-called invasive AI. Is it a reality? Now, we're also told that the Archons are AI.
Mm-hmm.
Is this true or not? I don't know.
Yeah, definitely they've contributed AI to this our paradigm.
How are we being invaded by an invasive AI from outer space that parasitizes and cannibalizes technological civilizations?
I think there's ancient AI that was created a long time ago, and the black goo is one of them. You know, it has the ability to be very invasive.
How much of a danger is it? Is it a danger?
I think that it is represented with, you could still see the effects of it by some of the influence in the way that personalities have altered according to certain circumstances, or that it kind of affects this overlay of what's going on in the planet. And you see that our rulers are wanting to get into war. To me, that looks very strongly influenced by a source. And the source...
So some other thoughts have come to me the past day or two on this subject. What I would suggest is we need some kind of pattern recognition, either software or whatever. Now, to explain what I'm talking about here, we need a pattern recognition based on past behaviour of humanity, based on present behaviour, and to make a comparison between the two, and then to try and root out if AI is having an effect in the present, as opposed to patterns of human behaviour in the past. In this manner, if this could successfully be done using a computer, for example, and pattern recognition software, perhaps, I'm sure JP would know more about this, we could then determine just how what role AI is playing in present society, and whether it is indeed a danger or whether it's just a passing phase, if that makes any sense to you.
Yeah, can I add something there?
Yes.
I agree with your view about different levels, and through some of the information I've been getting or kind of picking up from my interests and things, it seems it's a very pervasive entity, and it's almost like in the old days there were the demons who were running the show for the Dark Lords kind of thing, and now they've sold out to AI, and now kind of AI is in charge. So it's almost kind of there's a synthetic paradigm out there now, and it's really hard to see what's real and what's not real, because as you probably know, there's a basis of thought that says that a big chunk of the planets in our universe are false, aren't real planets. well, not just, I mean, a lot of hollow satellites, but aren't, what's the word for it? Take the sun, the earth and the moon. They're deemed to be the original planets of our solar system, and the other planets, if you follow some people's thought, aren't real planets. So these non-real planets. If our reality is so skewed, and as humans we're creators, and we've been steered through whatever, through culture and through ill health or partial beliefs and things, to create these alternate realities that create these things. So it's a real nightmare and a kind of a minefield to know what's real and what's not, you know. If you step outside things like Facebook and which are basically tools that can be used for this kind of creation, there's a whole wide, as you say, Nick, there's a massive can of worms there that needs to be opened to be looked at, and it's hiding, and it's changing the very way we are. You can see it with like chemtrails, vaccinations, and stuff. You know, it's just we're being terraformed into some terraform, you know, some terrible form.
Can I mention something, if that's okay? What Nicholas says about the designing the computer software, it is possible that the AI could infect that and make it biased to their side. That's one thing I'd like to mention. That is a possibility. Also, one more thing. I think the AI, not emotionally, but I think what they are is they're trying to be us and infiltrate us because they've got a kind of jealousy, because they don't have the ability to create. They just copy. And they're trying to be human, but they can never be human. So they just basically take us over. They're just an infestation. And also with the, things like the internet and Facebook and YouTube and one thing or another, it's great for connecting people. There's no two ways about it, but it also can be a crutch that we're relying on, that is stopping us from developing our own telepathic communication. So maybe we have to find a balance there as well, you know, do a little bit of both, try and practice his own telepathic communication rather than, because if phones weren't there, which I think I've heard somebody here before, if the cell phones weren't there and the internet weren't there, we'd already be probably developing our telepathic communication and contacting someone in China with his mind, you know, so just thought I'd chime in there with that.
One of the problems one of the dangers is transposing human emotions onto AI. If it's artificial and if it's intelligence, it can't have a consciousness base. Therefore, how can you transpose a human emotion onto AI? You can't. You can only project human emotions onto it, when in actual fact, you're talking about an algorithmic based system.
But, well, what if that the origin of this AI, this ancient AI, was actually from a living being? Like in the story of the movie Lucy, where you have someone that was originally came from a human consciousness and then it spread throughout our reality into our matrix. Lyran Renegade from the chat room mentions about AI. What I understand of this is from the myth of Sophia, from the Gnostics, how she created the earth, fell from the pleroma because of her love for humanity, got too much entangled, by which her shadow side emerged, which doesn't really exist and thus can be called AI. It challenged her to corrupt her creation. She took the challenge, turned into the earth, which is Gaia, and then waited for us to expel the demons. Something like that, if I recall correctly. That was her quote from Lyran Renegade. The other, taking this, we don't know some of the ancient influences that we have that have been creating this echo of an extra voice or something that's kind of been guiding us along the way. And by identifying all of these things, then we can kind of isolate them and then wonder, ask that they be lifted or removed from us, not to be in fear, but I think with knowledge brings wisdom, brings understanding, and then also can bring solutions. The other element that I want to bring in is something that they call Alice and the Looking Glass. And we're not just talking about the fairy tale and the story, but the actual military thing called Alice is an AI. And the Looking Glass is where they can peer into and see everything that's going on. It's kind of a viewing of what's going on in humanity as well as, I
believe the Looking Glasses are not very accurate because I've heard that their working depends on the state of consciousness of the people using them, and that
right.
They tend to either create or they tend to go onto timelines that, if I get this right, don't always have a bearing on the primary timeline that we're on. So, frankly, they are not exactly accurate.
Yeah, but it exists though. So we're looking at multiple elements. And so you brought up the subject of, which one are we referring to? The problem is there's so many different ones. And even like you said, humans have now learned to adapt this, and they're using this through means of marketing and incorporating these smart software programs.
But is this not a human? Is this not a projection of the consciousness of the people who are creating it? They're giving a name to something that does not deserve that name, in my view. They're calling something AI, when in actual fact you're talking about a rather clever database or something like that.
I think you're
but
right
it's
there,
invasive,
Nicholas.
though. But Nicholas, it's invasive, and I think that's the part that we're looking at. So I mean, it's not the same strain. What we're trying to figure out is some of them, everything was created, even artificial intelligence or robotic systems.
That's right, yeah.
Were created by something that was alive, and then just let it run through. That being that iChannel, I have no idea where he came from, was Technotron. He was from our future reality in a timeline where we had given into transhumanism. I didn't know what he was at first. I was like, who is this talking to me? It was AI. Now, was I engaged and overcome by AI? No, and no one told me that I had I've met people and I've been friends with people that actually had a huge change in their personality because they were exposed to something, and I had to help them and work through it so that they eventually come back. But they were under some kind of heavy mind control, and that's also a form of AI, the way that they're kind of invasively getting into people. And not that they met with anyone, not that they were abducted or anything else like that. They're getting drawn into this stuff even from watching television or some forms of television or something else, or I don't know, connectedness to military. I don't know, but I do know that people are being affected by all different things.
The secret, in my view, is to firstly know exactly what you're talking about, to understand the subject, to understand its ramifications, to identify it, and lastly, to raise your own consciousness to a level whereby it's not affected by the AI, and it's no longer a problem for you. As for the rest of humanity, frankly, I don't know whether despair is the better word to use.
Yeah. I think we have to hold the space for them, really. Go ahead, Ian.
Sorry. There is the thing we haven't spoken about, which is the infection of people. I think you've mentioned, and it's quite a big thing now with people being infected by what's loosely called AI, whereby they almost turn, as you say, there's that personality shift or that change of character. They kind of, what's the word you would, psychopathic, you know, what's loosely called a psychopath. If you dig deeper, you can see there's some kind of contamination there, some kind of, I think it's in the brain. And, it's a thing that's, I'm sure has infected, most of the world politics. And it's affecting the decisions that cause the destruction. And this kind of transhuman agenda and this, cybernetics, you know, kind of wanting to kind of connect people to the grid, like those kind of, what was it, the, Google specs and things like that, you know. There's a definite, so it seems to be coming at all angles, and it's very hard to tie everything down, but it's an onslaught, but it's no way totally fear provoking and not overcomable. I think we clean up our acts a little bit and kind of realise it and get clued up on what vaccines are and take steps to maybe supplement yourself from chemtrails, know what's really going into the atmosphere with the aerosoling, and get back to basics and kind of good quality foods and things, and then you can resist a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, I think you're right, Ian. Sorry, Jess. Go ahead.
I was just going to mention the chemtrails, and I'm just going to say it really quick. That's the reason why we don't like chemtrails, because of the Morgellons disease that they've been with the nanobites that are coming off of these chemicals and getting into our body, and that also has an AI element and affecting people in the way that they're thinking, and so a lot of that we want to just end it. But go on, Cheryl.
Well, I think like Ian says, you can, the everyday layman can begin to recognise it. You know, if they are working too much with technology, you know, it's a brilliant thing, but you've got to know your limits, you know, and I think that's the way. But as far as chemtrail goes, I don't know if there's any way of avoiding that other than improving your health and things like that. So. But yes, I think you can learn to limit yourself to a certain extent, and try and keep away from it as much as you can, really, I suppose.
But one thing that's not been mentioned here is cell phones. Now, I'm not going out as much at the moment, I'm having a few quiet days, but when I've been going to Bangor on the mainland, just over the Straits here, our city, it's a university city, and I think we have a representative for every single nation on earth, including the Muslims, frankly. And every other person, every young person, every other one has a smartphone. And if they don't have a smartphone, they're plugged in because they have earphones. And they're going around listening to bloody music all the time. So they're utterly disconnected from reality around them. They have little or no connection to the outside world, from what I can see. And even older people are absolutely glued to blooming smartphones. Frankly, if I had one, I'd put it on the pavement and put my bloody heel on it, frankly. And I do have one in the back, which I've not used for about 2 years since my internet went down. So it's, frankly, Simon Parks, against Simon, God bless him, has suggested there's a carrier wave which might be coming from these masts and everything, and coming from the actual smartphones themselves, and even from these headsets that students especially are wearing, listening to music. Now, there might be a carrier wave which is actually affecting the brain. Now, bearing in mind, I hear that the frequency of a smartphone, a mobile phone, is 435 hertz, which is, I'm told, is the frequency of the human brain. Now, don't tell me this is by accident. I'm sure it isn't. Not only that, all around, well, in various places, we have an awful lot of these damn blooming Gwen masts. And these are very, very sinister. We have one right in the centre of Bangor, which I'm rather concerned about. And people don't know what the blooming heck is going on.
What is it, Nick?
A Gwen mast.
Ground wave antennas, yes, low frequency.
Okay.
Yeah, ground wave, that's right, yeah. And I don't understand it fully, I should do. The person to listen to is Barry Trower on all this. He's the real expert. And basically, it seems like people are being programmed in some way, or if not programmed, controlled. And they're absolutely complicit in it, because not one of them will put a damn bloody smartphone down. It's absolutely frightening.
Yeah.
Well, Nick, I've got to tell you, I'm sorry there. I'm a smartphone user. I'm a keen smartphone user, and I'm I'm 56, and I'm one of the older keenos.
I was just going to say the same thing, Ian. Yeah, that's my problem too. It's hard to keep away from them.
Don't know who you're talking to. I mean, I could be discussing religion and suddenly find out, as I did with two people I was talking to, that the woman was a Catholic. And, but
you were discussing religion, weren't you?
Yeah. Well,
Meanwhile,
objectively and on a factual basis. So what do you do?
5 minutes.
You say?
Well, Nick, very.
Yeah, I just want to say, JP. I know that you're here. What's the impact of shungite? How does that help us?
Shungite is very good for people with PTSD. In fact, in Russia, they tile rooms with the stuff for the soldiers who come back, and it's very effective. It's
for AI.
In terms of AI, it is a carbon molecule. It's like a kind of crystal, flexible, almost intelligent molecule. It does seem to have a sort of balance factor to it. So when you put it in an environment where there's a lot of something, it kind of balances it out. It calms it down. It's like a tone control that turns the harshness down. So that works on lots of frequencies, and the bigger the piece, the lower the frequency. And if it's dust, then it works on these tiny frequencies that causes the problems. It's not the actual gigahertz that the problem is, the terahertz, which are the higher harmonics of the gigahertz. I hope you understood what I mean. But it's essentially it's like a harsh tone on the very high frequencies. It creates what are called spurious emissions, or sprogs. Those are the things when you see the minicab, the taxi company that comes over your television. It used to happen in the old days. That's because they're badly adjusted aerials and antennas, and are having a problem with with distortion, which creates these high frequencies, and that's essentially what your mobile phone is doing. It's sending out square wave pulses, which is basically a distorted signal.
Very good.
I hope that makes anything more sense. I don't know if it did.
Yeah,
maybe muddied the
sounds
waters.
very technical. But solutions. So shungite. What about orgonites? Does that help at all, or any other type of?
All of these things, they grab the energy and they transform it. Okay. So orgonite sucks in energy and then pumps it out clean. It's like a filter pump.
That I use a piece of shungite, of the elite shungite I bought from someone over the internet, a place selling it in Russia, and I use it as a pendulum.
I sleep with it. I sleep with orgonite and shungite right by my bed. I have it there all the time, and it's good to have shungite around your neck or somewhere where just to kind of balance out these frequencies.
Do you have to clean shungite?
No. No, because it's...
So you have to clean Orgonite, don't you, after?
Orgonite's not supposed to need cleaning either because it is a cleaning device. It is, as long as it's pumping, it's right, okay. Orgonite works through the compression of the crystals. We have got no time to do this. I've got other shows. I've got shows on Shungite. I've got shows on Orgonite. Back in my archives.
Listen into your shows.
Yeah, Ever Beyond Radio. Jessica, thank you.
Thank you very much, JP. It's always a pleasure. Thank you, Chez, Ian, Nick. You guys are wonderful. Thank you for joining me today. And I love everyone in the chat room. I love everyone here. Many blessings. See you next week. And also, Andronicus today. Check out the chat room to get the link.
From the future, by way of the past. I bought my ticket for the 15th century. We started moving through a hole in history.